r/neckbeard stories by Redmond Dtes. I had to abandon a friend who became a neckbeard. I'm writing this story because a lot has happened over the past month or so, and I need to get it off my chest. TLDR at the end. Trigger warning, mentions of sexual assault, transphobia, general creepiness. So this one friend group of mine had a guy who was, not the most ordinary person, let's say. For the sake of the story, let's call him Johnny. Johnny is on the spectrum, and he was clearly struggling with a lot of things behind the scenes. Like every time he lost a round of his favorite gun game, he'd punch his desk till his hands were bleeding, even if it was a casual game mode. He also had pretty bad self-esteem issues, calling me an alpha because I like gym and martial arts, but calling himself a low-value male because he didn't. All of this done completely unironically, by the way. But despite me offering to take him to the gym or a Muay Thai taster session multiple times, he refused. He also didn't want to seek professional help about the whole desk punching thing, because in his eyes, that would make him weak. The entire friend group desperately wanted to help Johnny, and we'd spend a lot of time supporting him in whatever way we could. One of the people in this group, let's call her Goose, even had the idea to make a separate chat where the rest of the friend group would talk in private about the best ways to aid this guy's mental health. But as you could probably guess from the title of this post, things didn't go exactly as planned. Another dilemma Johnny had with his life was that he had a crush on this girl, but he was too afraid to ask her out. All things considered, he'd lucked out pretty well, because this girl was, first, in his class, secondly, went to the same societies as him, and thirdly, was confirmed to play the same video games as him. There were a lot of ways he could have gone about this. All he had to do was take the initiative. Night after night, Johnny would ask us for help in the voice chat, and we'd spend ages suggesting him different ways he could start a conversation with her. And the reason I say night after night was because no matter how much advice he was given, he'd never actually do it. We could hand him a fully scripted convo, shaped by every single "what should I do" question he threw at us, and nothing would come of it. What he did do, however, was begin to stalk her. He found a photo of her from secondary school on Google, and would proudly tell us about how he had it saved on his phone, and as his PC wallpaper, etc. Obviously we told him to get rid of it, to which he would always respond with a bunch of whys. We were lenient on him because of the aforementioned mental health and autism, and calmly explained to him how it would be seen as creepy for him to have this photo of a person he hadn't even spoken to, even if he did get it from a Google search anyone could do. Every time he'd say he understood and tell us he deleted it, only for him to reveal a while later he still had it. He even sent it to the group chat at one point, and it took another whole ass debate for him to unsend it. To my knowledge, he still has the photo downloaded. Johnny would also start saying gross things at random, like, "I have a big budger, I haven't showered in 2 weeks," and "my balls are crusty," actual unaltered quotes by the way. At first, we thought he was just trying to troll us, but when we asked him if he was, after he said the budger thing, he sent us a photo of his nose gold, rather than giving us a simple no. Looking back at it, thank F we didn't ask him if he was trolling after he talked about his balls. I told him that I don't think his crush would like a dude who doesn't shower and talks about his budgers, to which he replies, "Well, what if she's into that stuff?" At this point red flags are starting to show, and the friend group gets a bit more confrontational. We tell him to stop with this stuff and fix up his act, but he always dodges with either more why questions, usually about stuff that we explained to him several times already, or spouting random World War II trivia, since he's obsessed with that stuff. We keep letting him know his behavior is disgusting, and start teasing him about it, calling him a creep, and saying stuff like, "Ugh, I miss Johnny, it's a shame John had to take over his body and turn him into a gooner," or whatever. But things only got worse. Later on, Johnny tries to justify rape. No, I didn't skip anything between the last paragraph and this one. It was completely out of nowhere, and still has the whole friend group kinda shook. He puts on this weird ass young Sheldon Interesting kinda act as he deliberates the morality of whether or not he should rape his crush. When we tell him rape is bad, yep, you guessed it, he does his why routine all over again, except it's 200 times more sickening given the subject matter. He says the most messed up things, like when I tell him he has to respect her feelings. He says, respect is something to be earned. Eventually me and another guy in the group have to threaten to rape him if he rapes the girl, which shuts him up immediately. After that, I tell the others that I'm done with Johnny. I had hoped he'd be able to become a better person, but it's safe to say my hope was misplaced. They're pretty much on the same page as me, but decide to give him one final chance, since he was a longtime friend of theirs. I change my mind and decide to go along with the rest of my friends, albeit very cautiously. And to my surprise, Johnny actually shows signs of changing. He admits it's okay to not be okay. He takes Goose's advice to make a spreadsheet to chart his mental health, and he starts showering regularly. Only for him to revert back to his previous vile behavior when we least expected it. I'm done being nice. I tell him straight up that he's a waste of space who doesn't care to learn, and he is turning his entire friend group against him. He says that he learns many things, to which I recount the whole rape debate incident. But because I said the name of the girl, he ignores my entire message and just goes, "Oh my god, insert name of girl mentioned," before proceeding to spam the chat with her name. I tell him one final time that he's losing his friends with his own actions, to which he responds, "What am I losing you to?" I leave the chat and block Johnny on everything. A few days later, everyone else takes a page out of my book and cuts contact with that creep. Even Goose, who was the most lenient with him and was trying the hardest to help. And that's because Goose is a trans woman, and Johnny refused to respect her identity. To make things worse, Goose and Johnny are longtime friends of around 10 years, and she's been out as trans for 3 years. But he still tells her how she's not a real woman and refuses to budge. According to him, if men and women were something decided by choice, then the rules of society would collapse. Which is freaking ironic, coming from the rape justifier. As of now, the chat that was meant to help out Johnny is our main group chat, and the only time he's ever mentioned is when someone pokes fun at his god-awful behavior. We are considering warning the girl he's talking about him, but none of us have her contacts, and given how much of a coward he is, it's unlikely he'll do anything. TLDR, friend randomly becomes a total creep, tries to justify rape and acts transphobic towards longtime friend trying to help him. Update. I've alerted the school about him. That's all folks. Thank you for watching. If you like videos like this one, why not like and subscribe for more? Have a nice evening.